Hi, my name is John, and I'm a very lucky, very blessed level 3 QHHT practitioner down here in Australia. And I just want to talk about this particular QHHT session that the client had, because it was all about her guide, or he was a wish maker, which was cool. I've never heard of a guide like that before. And what happened in her session is, whilst under hypnosis, just a very average, normal scene. And then all of a sudden, she said, "Oh, I see a little hut." I said, "Oh, well, what do you want to do?" And she said, "Well, I might go inside and go and have a look." And so she was standing at the door, and she said, there's a man in here. And I said, "Well, what does he feel like?" Because I never put anybody in jeopardy or make them do anything that they don't feel comfortable doing. But she said, no, he feels very, very wise. He feels like a very wise man. And I got her to describe him, and she started laughing. She was like, "Well, he actually looks like he's only like a really, really small, like almost like a dwarf, but he's got this big beard." And so I'm so curious. I was really curious in him and what he was doing and his role. And he said that he was a wish maker. And I said, "Well, what's a wish maker?" And he said, "Well, what he does is he hears people's wishes, certain people's wishes, and he grants the wishes." So I asked him, "Well, how does he do that?" And it said it's got to do with his hear. So I got him to explain the whole process, and it was really, really fascinating. And he was telling me about how important hear actually is, because he said it's the only thing that is connected to the invisible world, to the energy that can ground in through the body. And it sort of got me thinking. I was like, wow, that makes sense. And he said, "Well, that's why do you think that if the energy is not right in a room, what's the first thing that senses it?" He said, "It's the hear." I was like, wow. So he was granting wishes through his beard. And anyway, to cut a long story short, he was absolutely fascinating. And he said that the whole reason why the client needed the session was because it was really important for him to take a really important role in the client's life now. He said this is part of his contract. And I asked him, is he actually a part of her? But he was a completely different energy. So he was an outside energy. And the lady, she was pretty good at manifesting. She manifested the good in her life, and she manifested the bad in her life. But this is a completely different level. So we went and took a tour with him, actually. And I said, "Well, how do you refuel and get your energy?" And he said, "Well, hop in and I'll show you." So they left that scene, and then he was in Machu Picchu, and he said, I like Machu Picchu because I can recharge here with that energy." It was super fascinating. And so getting back to the client, now she had a couple of questions, a couple of desires. So what he did is he said he's devoting all his time now just to the client. He said he is always there, right next to her. So he said, even when she's driving, I'll be right next to her. And he was really, really excited, really excited. So the more that she gets in connection with him, and the stronger she makes that connection, the better her life is going to be. It's just like once you start making a connection with your angels and your guides, honestly, you just get so much, your intuition just grows so much more. And it was really fascinating, this little, she'd call him like a little dwarf. So it was just such a fascinating QHHT session, and something that will really change her life, And like always, he said, be very, very careful what you wish for. The more specific you are, well, then the easier it is for them, because if you make a wish and it's not very specific, well then they'll give you what you wish for. So the more specific you are, well then the more chances that you'll get exactly what you want. So if you're looking for the love of your life and he's going to absolutely love and adore you and you're going to fall in love with him, he might turn out to be a narcissist. So he might still actually love you and you might actually love him. So be specific in what you ask for. So it was just such a beautiful, wonderful, it'll really change your life, and I had so much fun asking him so many questions. So if you're ever interested in having a QHHT session, feel free to jump on my website. The website's up there. Or if you're interested in QHHT itself, look up Dolores Cannon, the beautiful Dolores Cannon right here. She created it, and that's where she got all her information from. So if you ever just want to get in contact with me and ask me a few questions, feel free to, or leave a comment in the comments box below. So thank you so much for listening, and I really hope that your wishes come true.